Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to Racing from Woodbine Mohawk Park as we get set for 11 races this evening in pea soup. So the good news is that it's getting warmer. The bad news is it's going to be tough to see some of the horses out on the track today. You know, we just can't compete with Mother Nature sometimes, and as Chad had pointed out, it's been like this heavy fog in the Milton area since this morning, and I don't anticipate it going away. We're actually under a fog advisory for the remainder of the evening. But good news, tomorrow we're going to be in the double digits. However, it's going to rain. I'd love it if we'd get some of this double-digit weather with some sunshine, but it looks like this week is going to be kind of wet. But Jeff, you won't have to worry about taking your car to get it clean because Mother Nature is going to do that for you.
You know me too well, my friends.
You are in there at least 5 times a week.
That's true. Petro-Canada on their seasons past loses money on myself. But I am absolutely terrified to be the analyst next Friday here on the show because I don't know what we're going to do for replays on the show tomorrow, or next week, I should say, because I'm not sure exactly how much we are going to be able to see here tonight. Now, the good news is we were just talking with Chad about back in the old days before there was Trackus and, G-Max and stuff like that. The starting gate patroller used to walkie-talkie to the announcer to say it's 1-4-6 at the quarter type thing.
Yeah.
And then poor Frank Sleeve at the time would have to fill in the blanks. At least now Chad and Kenny, they can sort of see the flow of the race by the chicklets. But other than that, I don't know how much we're going to see here this evening.
I can remember some fun calls, though, back in the day when we didn't have the chicklets.
Yes.
Like, hey, everybody, your guess is as good as mine. And then we waited for them basically to come around the turn for home and we could see them again.
Well, Larry Letterman, rest in peace. He was a guy at Garden State called some unbelievable races. And I remember it was so foggy one night, he started giving out basketball scores, said, don't forget to file your taxes, stuff like that, just to fill the blanks.
Well, hopefully Chad's got lots to talk about.
Yeah,
And maybe some stock tips or something to pass along. Hey, speaking about that, I hope you got gas tonight because I heard it's going to go up again for the next couple of days, which is hard for our horsemen because, believe me, diesel is even more expensive than gasoline.
Yeah. And
that is so tough when you're trucking these horses around.
That's just it. It's not like you're in a normal car.
Nope.
You're carrying a pretty heavy trailer behind you as well, too. So, so it's even nicer if you get a couple of wins on the program tonight to help pay that gas bill when it comes in the month. When you charge everything, you're like, I don't have to worry about that for a month. And you're like,
right.
Holy smokes.
I know. It is tricky. We have a Filly Mare Open that'll be the on-track feature for the night tonight. It'll go as race number 9 on the program. And we want to take a look because it's spring, and one of the new signs of spring, or, something we always see, are the new babies arriving, and everybody's kind of chatting about who they've got on the ground and who's the sister to who and who's a full brother to who. Well, guess who Tara Hill's stud welcomed into the world just the other day. Now, this is a full sister to the great, the legendary Bojangles. And Jeff, she's cute as a button. And, for me, if she was mine, boy, I'd be wrapping her up in bubble wrap when I send her outside.
Oh, well, not just that. I imagine they were begging for a filly, too.
Yeah, because think about down the line.
Exactly. As a broodmare, what do you think her value is before she was even able to stand up?
Well, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, and it will get higher and higher and higher depending on what her big brother does.
Speaking of Bojangles, he got some serious press this week, and he was on the TSN website. I think it was Dan Ralph that maybe did a story on Bojangles too, which is fantastic. He'll be back in action in the not too distant future. So
yeah, that's great that we have a star because we haven't had one in a while that got the public's attention outside of racing.
Who's the last one? Would it be the beach?
Some beach somewhere.
Yeah.
I remember going to CBC in the morning to talk to the ladies who did the sports down there.
Yeah.
What was the lady who did the curling and she passed away not long ago? Colleen Jones.
Yeah.
To talk to Colleen Jones about some beach somewhere.
Yeah.
And so like that was probably the last big.
Well, that would be her thing too, because she was a maritimer too, right?
Yeah,
She was very, very good curler. Obviously, fantastic broadcaster as well. And as Elisa said, Elisa had a chance to go down and talk to Colleen. But yeah, the fact that we have a real positive horse in the press right now, that's fantastic. Now, on Monday night, Elisa, I was watching,
you were
cheering you
for
home
me
because your pick 6 looked good. You had a good ticket. Unfortunately, you keyed in the wrong spot. And you probably, if you've gone too deep, you probably have got it.
I would have had it.
And it paid not bad for
800
$1.
and change.
Yeah, considering what happens.
I know. But you know what? It made for a fun night. And I'm sure if there's any video of me sitting alone here in the studio yelling at the TV, you know how we normally make fun of Joanne on the other side where we can hear her calling when it's her horses? Well, they probably heard me on the other side screaming at some of these horses.
Well, I must admit,
night.
so on, what day was it? I think it was Friday or Saturday, you and I were working together, and I don't know, we got discussing about the card and stuff like that, and I said I gave you like 3 horses that I liked, and one of them was able to win, so
Yes.
I was happy about that. My Way was able to get up to win.
Yes, thank you. I
you had that
appreciate
one.
that.
Yeah.
Well, because you've been doing the Mondays,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
you get used to the rotation of those horses. And for me, I was kind of stepping in blind on a lot of these horses and had a good night too. I love it when that happens. One of the fun tips that I got along the way that evening was from the gang with Side Effects. And they had sent me a text message. I mean, social media is an amazing thing. Pat Dillon and his wife had sent me a text message and said, "Thanks so much for rooting for Side Effects. We're on a cruise right now, and we're hoping that the horse is able to keep the string alive." Well, the horse kept the string alive, got yet another victory. That was 5 straight for Side Effects. And the fun part was, after the race was over, and I had mentioned, Pat and his wife, they're on the cruise right now. Everybody on the cruise ship is going to be tuning in to watch. Pat sent a message over and said everybody on the cruise ship was watching and cheering the horse on. So, that's always fun too, because it gets people interested in something aside from having the free drinks out on the boat.
I have never done the cruise thing.
No, I've been on the casino cruises. They're interesting.
That's my type of thing.
Yeah, but that's like you go out for the night and then you come back in again, right? And they give you a really bad buffet on some of those too. The other big winner on the program was this horse at 13-1. This is TH Allow Me to Lead, who won at a big price. I thought, overall, I thought the Monday night card was played fairly logical. A lot of the horses that I thought would be in the top bunch did. There weren't a lot of major surprises. But this horse was at a good price of 13-1 to win the 10th.
Yeah, that helped the late pick 5. That killed your pick 5,
It
though,
did.
right? Yeah, that horse was a bit of a surprise at a big number as well. But what I kind of like about the card on Monday is you had, I think, about 5 or 6 winners. You had a really good night, but you were able to eke out a couple of prices, which was nice to see along the way, too. So it's always nice. You get, I would say, one of my favorite prices to hit on is like 7-2 and 4-1.
Yeah,
shots,
those are great ones.
$9 or $10. That's
I'll take it.
Perfect.
I'll
perfect.
take it.
Yeah,
Those
so
are
you get
great.
a couple of those a night, your night is made.
Well, let's see if we can get a few of them tonight for
we'll
you,
try.
too. We just want to make an announcement about a new post time that's just been announced, effective on March the 13th. First race post time has been moved to 6:30. So right now we're around 6:15. Now we're going to go roughly around 6:30, but the show will move up 15 minutes as well. So, Jeff, you can come in a little bit later on. You can come in at 1 o'clock instead of 12:30.
That's right.
But Woodbine Racing Live will start at 5:45. And you know what the other scary thing is, too, Jeff? That's Friday, March the 13th. A month from then, basically a month from then, we'll be doing the opening show for Woodbine Racing Live for the runners.
That's right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Winter went by fast.
Just saw, and as a matter of fact, an email just came out that the main track at Woodbine is going to be open next week at some point.
Next week?
So,
Well, so this good weather probably helps
big time.
with that. Yeah, I talked to some trainers that are down in Florida, and they were saying, like, we're going to come back when the main track opens up, and I'm sure they didn't anticipate it would be this soon.
Yeah,
so.
well, especially with the winter we had, it's just been so cold.
Yeah,
And the fact that we've had this major break, I don't know what it is, why it feels so different. 5 degrees Celsius in October as opposed to 5 degrees Celsius in March. I'm like out there with my shorts. I got my sandals on.
You're
got
not.
my suntan lotion on. My 100% protection there. But on the card tonight, we're going to start things off with race number 1. And I had a tough time separating a couple of horses here in this first race of the evening. I love the way that Winston Chelsea raced last time out. But Esmeralda de Lac gave this horse, Pelican Bay, everything that she could handle on that day. That was the Ben Hollingsworth horse that was coming to us via Flamborough Downs. And Esmeralda de Lac got the lead, and then here comes Pelican Bay, who could be any kind. It's actually in the entries coming up a little bit later on this.
Second race.
Oh, is it today?
Yep,
okay.
Second race today.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Great. Yeah, we're showing that replay. So, man, it's hard when you handicap so many days in advance. You can't remember who's in, who's out. But the thing about Winston Chelsea that I liked was, you might remember I showed the replay from back on February the 13th, and we thought she kind of put in a couple of steps there late
yes.
and then flattened out to finish in fourth. Well, last time I thought she was a little bit more thorough. Now, she comes from way out of it on this occasion, too, and comes from really, really nicely with 28-3 last quarter. But look how far back this horse is at this portion of the proceedings in here. And the winner is Multigu Velma, who just has a little bit more experience than what Winston Chelsea's got. But the thing that I like is I just like the way that she finished better than the way that she finished back on February the 13th. So I think it was a big step in the right direction for her. And she can really fly towards the end of miles, as we're going to take a look at right now. She's got a lot of work to do at this portion of the proceedings, as we're going to watch the number 7 here on this replay. So right now we're about 5th. And here comes Thiessen to eventually win the race with Montegu Velma. But just watch how this horse finishes up with Bobby in here. You know, just still a horse that I think is luring a thing or two, but finishes up really, really nicely. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but I think she's really, really close. But I don't know if she can beat Esmeralda.
Yeah, that's the issue.
What do you think?
I took the 2, and so did everybody.
Yeah.
Wow, they were all going towards this one. She's affiliated by Cattle Wash. You know, they're just super, super hot right now. And we know what we saw from Pelican Bay last week. So I used the 2, same as you. I did put a note down. I used the 6 in my ticket. I see you've got the 6 there as well. Because last week with her, she was only making her second lifetime start. She came home pretty strong too, 27-4. But they made some changes with her last week. They went from aluminum to flops up front, and they brought the hobbles in an inch last week too. And it did give us a better third place finish. They're still trying to sort things out with these young horses. So I went 2, 4, 6.
And Stompa lacked room last time. We're going to look at that Pelican Bay replay in our next race. But Stompa did have some go. But the problem is this is start number 17 now. So I just don't want any more excuses I can make for
that.
Stompa.
But also last week they did change the shoes on Stompa too. They went from steel to aluminum. That's a move I like last week and got that 4th place finish. So the first race on tonight's program will kick off the $75,000 guaranteed pick 5 as we flip over to race number 2. And now we'll get to talk about Pelican Bay. Now, Pelican Bay was a horse that had been competing at Flamborough, had her career debut at Flamborough, let's say, and we talked about it like a paid workout, essentially. She won that race quite easily by an easy 4 lengths. And then she came here and she kind of dominated on the 27th as well. Now, James McDonald drove her last week. He goes to the 8-horse Day of Daylight. I can understand that. The seminary horse. He did drive this horse to a win back on February the 6th. They're going to change the equipment up here and go from Pelling Pacifier to racing blinkers tonight. But I wanted to bring this up with you. I mentioned it to Randy not too long ago, and I'm sure you've seen it because you're on top of everything when it comes to thoroughbred racing. Did you see the picture that they had up from, I'm sure it's Gulfstream Park, of a horse who's wearing a thoroughbred who's started to wear the Pelling Pacifier? And it's like, wow, this is something totally out of the box. Well, it's so normal here on this side.
I think it was a Patrick Biancone horse, if memory serves me correct as well. You're right. And we're seeing that more and more in the thoroughbreds. Like even now horses wearing screens. Yeah. You're seeing that more and more.
Side rolls.
Side rolls as well. So yeah, you're seeing, a lot of things coming over from the standardbred side of the game onto the thoroughbred side of the game as well. Now, Pelican Bay, what I love about the way that she won last time out was she was driven. James knew he had the best horse. He just drove the horse with so much confidence. But I don't think he went to the bottom of the well either. And he taught the horse a thing or two as well. So right now we're second over in this race. And here's a look at Pelican Bay. Now, she is a little bit green down the lane. She almost caused herself to go off stride here, as a matter of fact, because she kind of lays in a little bit in the late portions of this race. So we'll just watch her here very closely. So here she is with right now. She's trying to get in a little bit, but James has to strain her out. Look at Mr. Plant there, by the way. That's the horse in the first race that we were focusing on that doesn't have that much room, that being Stompa. But, and there's Esmeralda Dulac, who we're going to see coming up in the first race of the program. But not a very taxing race by any means there with Pelican Bay. The problem that I have, though, with Pelican Bay, though, tonight is, how is this Angels Among Us still eligible for this class? This is a 6-time winner that's in this field. Now, a tip of the cap to Gunnar Barnsdale. He got this horse last week, and he got the horse at a good number because this was the other Cullen horse on that day. I think you're going towards the horse that might be the second choice, that being Day of Delight. I think the 3 goes off as the favorite. But the thing that I like about Day of Delight, that was a big bounce back race last time out.
Right. Like, I've seen a few of these horses, I think from this outfit too, that have debuted great. And then the next start, card is just so. And don't forget, too, that next start for this horse, Day of Delight, was in that nominals of 2 or 30 life.
Right.
And then now we're back down, same class as we were last time. Nominals of 2 or $15,000 makes a big difference. So that's why I went to the 8. Then I used the 3, Angel Among Us. I mean, you're right. It must just be these lower priced purses or whatever. I mean, there's probably some bonuses here and that kind of thing that take money off of this horse's card. But 8, 3, 2 for me here in the second race.
Yeah, and I'm curious because I think this is more of an acid test for Pelican Bay.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how good she is. And just even if she doesn't win today, as long as she progresses, I think that'd be a positive sign.
Absolutely. And she gets a new driver here tonight, too. So Bob McClure is going to drive her here this evening. Let's go to race number 4. Fourth race tonight does have our lone scratch of the evening. Cheese Party is out. That horse is a vet scratch. So it gets us down to a field of 9. And I'm glad that you wanted to show this replay for Kira Sealster. I was thinking about bugging you and saying, Jeff, do you mind playing that replay? But then I thought, no, he's seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. Stuck on the rail, absolutely nowhere to go last week. Today, of course, we have the outside draw. You get James McDonald taking over, though.
Yeah, Louis kind of rolled the dice in that last race with Kira Sealster. He elected to stay in, and unfortunately, the Red Seas, they did not part. And that is the way it goes sometimes. You had Santa Fe's appetite on this day. You were bang on with her. She was able to get back on the beam, but we want to watch Kira Sealster and watch this horse very, very closely. And look at the lines here with Wah. He's got horse, and he's just saying to himself, let's hope this Red Sea opens up. But right now, you have to get a lot of luck to win from this spot. And it's just not going to materialize, unfortunately. Here's Travis with Santa Fe's appetite. But I think this Wall horse has got some real go. They pop the plugs and just, he can't go.
Nope, there's
nowhere.
Nothing you can do about that.
Option A, horse is stopping. Option B, horse is stopping. Can't split.
No.
Just not good.
Troubled trip.
Just troubled trip. Yep. You just come back and you fight another week. That's all you can do, right? And was Wah on that night. And now it's going to be James McDonald that picks up the drive here today. The problem is, this time you've got this Josh McKibben horse that's been facing a lot tougher. Second time Lasix in the field. So I'm going to give that one the slight nod, although I don't discount the chances of Kira Sealster by any means.
Yeah, I had put a star beside Kira Sealster last start to play her this week, so I'm going to stick with that. But I agree, the 5-horse Stellar Manipulation, second time Lasix, we know from our buddy Randy that is his big move. And you're coming out of non-winners of 6,700 to compete against non-winners of 3,100.
Let's enjoy Madam X.
Exactly.
I mean,
definitely some relief.
Tougher. Yeah.
So the fourth race on tonight's program will kick off the pick 6 on this evening's card as we move ahead to race number 5. Fifth race tonight, Fillies and Mares non-winners of 13,750 in their last 4 starts, or non-winners of 24,500 in their last 8 with a field of 10. And this, to me, is a really tough race to sort through. You got Let's Enjoy, who's looking for, let's see now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. So there's a monster. James is going to opt to drive this one. You got Sorcia Sealster, who's making that shoe change that I like, putting the Nikes on up front. You got Eviana, who was really a nice winner last week for Paul McDonnell, and James did drive that one, but tonight it's going to be Dougie. You get Western Wish, who raced huge last week, and you get this LA Mickey horse, who might be a player too. This is a tough race to sort through, and I'm surprised we all went to the horse who's looking for 6 in a row.
It's funny. I know you're not a big football fan, but I remember when the New England Patriots, they had Tom Brady, and they won all these Super Bowls.
Oh, yeah?
And you go to work one day, or you go to a bar one day, and you see one of your buddies wearing a Patriots hat. You'd be like, "What? Why? When did you jump on the bandwagon?"
Right.
That's me with Let's Enjoy, because I haven't been on the bandwagon, but I'm bang on tonight.
Let's
go. Yeah. We're facing tougher, but hard not to jump on the bandwagon with how good she is right now. Now, I don't know. I've never driven a horse. If it's more difficult to drive a closer on a night like tonight with it being so foggy, I don't know. I don't know what you can see in front of you. I don't know.
You know what I think? I think you got to have a lot of chatter out there.
Yeah,
that's really the best thing you can do. You got to talk to each other.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. But if she stays in the zone, I think she can win this category. And I was actually talking with Chad the last time that she won. See, Chad and I, we have our chats on the drive.
Yeah, I don't get involved. Nobody calls me.
We call each other to chat about the proceedings. And he brought up a good point. He says, down the line, she might be, a filly mare type of horse, open type of horse, so... Let's see if she can't keep the roll going. Obviously, James had a bunch of options in here. Western Wish, you know I'm a huge fan of hers, and she just missed last time out. She raced terrific
You
in
wanted
here.
her and you needed her, too.
Yeah, I'm off the CC Rock and Rosie bandwagon. Sugar Pie Honey gets a brutal draw here today. LA Mickey's just sort of been so-so as of late. But folks, I might have to leave the studio if Sorcha Sealster wins, and Elisa has not picked the horse tonight. She loves this horse.
I've been following this horse, and tonight I'm hopping off the bandwagon. The first thing I said to Jeff when I heard the changes was, "Oh man, if I would have known we were going to Steel to Aluminum, I probably would have put her on my ticket here tonight." Now you've got an early pick 5 to pass along too.
I did put one together tonight. No singles for me along the way, and you might be saying, "No, that's a little bit." Uneventful. Like, why are you not keen? Let's enjoy. Well, this Aviana,
just in case.
I just don't know how good she is, right? So I tossed her in here. So I'm going to go too deep. I'm going to use Winsun Chelsea, Elsmeralda Delac. And the second, I've got Pelican Bay and Angel Among Us. And the third, I've got Wicked and Single. And this Bride Down All Kisses is just one that just kept jumping off the page to me for whatever reason. And the fourth, I'm going to use the 5, 8, and the 9. And then we wrap it up in the fifth with the 1 and 4. Let's Enjoy and Aviana. So there's my tickets. And our very good mathematician, who is the graphic master, Jeremy, says that ticket will be $48.
Okay. And you can play for 20 cents too, but I think that's a super logical ticket, Jeff. And I would agree on some of these horses, you just can't completely have the confidence to key them.
And especially on a night like tonight, I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, let's move on to race number 7. Seventh race is a trotting event. Non-winners of $1,850 in their last 4 starts. So we're looking at some bottom end trotters here in this race, some horses that really need to turn things around tonight. And when we get to races like this, they are very difficult to sort through because, it's hard to find horses who have showed really even some interest as of late. So you've got to kind of zero in on the ones who have been trying in their most recent races. For example, like Chaos, goes off stride last week early on, but is able to still get there for the 3rd place spot. That's a Bruce Richardson trainee. You got Archimedes here for Lyle MacArthur. This one's dropping from non-winners of 2,500 to face non-winners of 18.5. I thought LMC Mr. Squishy had a great race last start out, but he's hindered with the outside draw here tonight. And then we have some horses that you're just crossing your fingers that they're going to stay on the trot.
Even not over race better last time. Made a break, but had a massive recovery to at least finish in the 4th place position for Carmen Osceola. And this horse had done nothing for this new barn, but had by far one of the best races I've seen him have in that most recent race. I went towards this Bless Me Father, who made up a lot of ground last time out. They make yet another change here. The obvious question is, can he stay flat? Because he hasn't been able to do that here. But what I like is the fact James had some options in here. The only thing I didn't like about that replay is I'm kind of a bit of a nitpicker. I don't know if you're like this or not. Just a bit of a mild drift down the stretch. I kind of like when they go in a straight line myself. Speaking of that, went to Costco the other day.
Oh, yes.
I got one of those shopping carts that need the wheel alignments.
Oh, isn't that fun?
Oh, especially at Costco.
Oh, they're huge carts there.
I know.
That's a workout for your upper body. Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, so if Bless Me Father can stay in a straight line tonight, I think that one's got a shot. But you're going to get a price with Archimedes.
Okay, here's the other interesting piece of information. We got a little chance to talk to Beau Ford and ask him about this one horse, Bless Me Father.
He's a horse that I was pretty familiar with from down home. I stabled at the same firm that he was at in the same burn. When he came to me, he came with a little bit of a foot issue that, you'll see on his lines. We kind of raced him there short Monday, Friday, and then gave him a week off, and he's back in to go this week just to spend a little bit more time with him, make a few little minor changes to his shoeing. And even this week, I think we're actually the plan is to change his bridle. He won a lot of races down in PEI this summer. He was a really nice horse, and we're going to close him back up. That's what he raced majority of the time down home. I think he's probably a horse that when he came to me, he was just lacking the confidence that he had this summer. And I thought last time out was probably, a confidence builder. And then, we're hoping that with King James in the bike, he should be a pretty good fit for him. And I think he's got a pretty good shot.
We got some pretty good information there out of Beau talking about this horse. And I like that. Sometimes you just got to go back to the equipment that was working, right? And that's exactly what they're doing here tonight, going from blinkers to a blind bridle. He also kind of mentioned they did some shoeing changes with him too. So there's a little bit to consider with this one horse.
Let me ask you a question. Why is it that PEI produces so many nice horses with the full crop being
Yeah.
as small as it is as opposed to
Quality,
Ontario.
not quantity, I
Is
guess.
it the potatoes?
Is it the potatoes?
I
Yes.
want to know because these horses from the Maritimes, they can strut their stuff here and do very, very
Isn't
well.
that awesome?
Yeah.
I guess that's the ultimate goal for anybody who's a breeder in
Yep,
PEI is
yep.
for their horse to make it here at the big track in the city. So yeah, race number 7 on tonight's program features those trotters. Let's go to race number 8. 8th race tonight kicks off the late pick for fillies and mares non-winners of 6,000 in their last 4, non-winners of 13,000 in their last 8. Madam X is here tonight. She has been a pretty good superstar. 4 out of 5 this season for this mare, who's from the Maneri outfit. Get McDonald back on the bike with this one. To keep talking about McDonald tonight, he might win a few races on the card. Chief's Dream Girl, I thought, had a heck of a race last start out, and that was first time with Bob. I mean, I would assume at some point in time Bob must have driven this horse, but he took over last start out, and some of the better races I've seen from her are when you take her to the back and let her come flying, and she did close up quite well to finish in the second place spot in behind Madam X. I'm going to play her tonight and see if we can beat this one, because you know what? We're not going to get a price on Madam
right.
X, but we will get a price, I think, on Chief's Dream Girl.
We know what Madam X is, right?
Yep.
We know that. The question mark is this Bad Girl Bridget. I love the qualifier this horse
You
has.
love the name.
Yeah. I don't know any Bridgets, though. But anyways, Bad Girl Bridget flew home nicely last time out to finish in second. Wah had his choice of a couple of different horses in here. Another Beau Ford horse coming to us, VEPI. And I don't know if the horse is good enough to beat Madam X or not. Madam X in this category is a pretty tough foe.
Yeah.
But Elisa says, I don't need that chalk. Give me a number. And you're going to get one on Chief's Dream
Yeah.
Girl. And there's a couple of drivers that I kind of like using when a horse just needs a bit of a wake up. One of them is Bob McClure and one of them is Doug McNair. I don't know why. I just find sometimes when I'm on a horse and I'm kind of humming and hawing, and if I see those two drivers picking up the drive, all of a sudden I might go in that one's direction. So I think you're onto something there with Chief's Dream Girl. And it was a bit of an interesting drive too, because Bob kind of got her engaged early on in that race, which more often than not, she comes from a little bit further off the pace.
Yeah. I kind of like her. I've been a fan of hers over the years. She's a neat little horse, and she's been able to bankroll some good money, close to $450,000.
Emma Christopher, avid viewer of the show, gives me a hard time for never picking her horses, and she's going to give me a hard time yet again because you picked
Don't
the
worry,
horse
Emma.
today.
I got you on top, kiddo.
Yeah, that's right.
I got your back. Let's go to race number 9. This is the on-track feature, the Fillies and Mares Open. Purse offered here, $40,000, so big money on the line. And what do we do with Angostura Hanover, who's had really good luck as of late in the Open? She's had back-to-back wins, and she has to face off against Absolution yet again. And the big chatter last week on Absolution was the driver change.
Right, and it was a perfect trip, second over trip, but Angostura Hanover was just too good. Got the jump, and Absolution did not have enough real estate to work with. Now, the frustrating thing I find in the Filly Mare Open is the fact that it takes so long for flow to develop in these races. And it's the same cast of characters all the time. It's a smaller field, and there just isn't the type of flow that you get sometimes in races where, say, you get a little bit more movement in here. So more often than not, it's a sprint at the top of the stretch. And you have to give Angostura Hanover all kinds of props for this performance on this night. Is first up, whereas last time the horse won, prior to this, it was a ground-saving trip, and Bob was the last to move on Angostura. Here comes James on the outside with Absolution, and just does not have enough track to work with. But that's what amazes me, Elisa, is look at the last 3 winners of this category. Style for Mile, Angostura Hanover, Angostura Hanover. They've all come from off the pace, despite the fact it's been single file for about 3/4 of the race, and a sprint at the top of the lane.
And look at this. We've all gone towards the 6
But are we
horse.
being all sucked in again?
I don't know. I'm willing to go back a second time. And then if she disappoints me tonight, then I'll likely go elsewhere next week. But one of the horses that has won this class recently is Style for a Mile. You talked about her. And she went off stride last week. Very, very unusual for her. So here's the good news. We got a chance to talk to driver Dale Thiessen and ask him about what happened last time with Style for a Mile.
I'm not sure. She might have been just a little too doubled up, John, in that turn. She's kind of a mare you have to let her find her way around the track, kind of, give her a head and not fight with her too much. You just want to kind of let her think she's in control. And she might have been a little doubled up there, like you said. She's done it in the past, but
as far as the mare, she's the nicest mare I've ever had the opportunity to drive, as far as I'm concerned. She won the Preferred a few weeks ago. I think given the right trip, they mix it up a little bit up front. I think she could be right there again. Like you mentioned, she was third over the other night last Friday. And in the last turn, I felt like I was going to get good money in there. I felt like I could have been a second or third, and she jumped it off. So it was unfortunate for the connections and myself, but I think she can rebound in a very big way this weekend.
Typical woman. You got to let her think she's the boss. I can say that. You can't.
No, I cannot. I cannot. I just noticed it. Yes.
It's best when we think we're in charge. Sometimes we are, but I mean, in general, it sounds like she's just your typical mare. You know, she wants to find her own way around there, and she managed to put in some steps there last week.
It happens from time to time, too. But look at the amount of money these horses have made. You've got all of them with a pile of money in them. And then you have poor Sunshine Magic, who's made $121,000 facing these beasts.
Yeah.
And she showed that she belonged last week.
Yeah,
she finished a very good third.
She did, yeah. So here we go. All these girls down the line will make lovely brood mares. Let's go to race number 11, the final on the program tonight. And we are on the trot for the last race. Nominators at 2,500 in their last four. Couple things here. First of all, the Jackpot High Five carryover is growing. It's well over $73,000, so that's some good news. And here's the other thing. This one horse, last week. So this horse is 15-1 morning line tonight. I'm curious to see what the price ends up being, because I don't think we're getting 15-1. But this horse is 15-1 morning line. Last week, we had that announcement from Chad that they were taking the pants off. The trotting hobbles were coming off of Kama, and it resulted in a win with James McDonald. And tonight, we got 15-1. I'm going back.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? It wasn't just necessarily that he won. It was kind of the way he won, with a little bit of confidence. You know, he looked very powerful towards the end of the mile. Yes, he has to move up in class to face a little bit tougher. But when was the last time this guy got to race off of a win, too? You know, so maybe he's got a little bit of swagger coming out of the bar now. All of a sudden, that's a potential thing to keep an eye on in here. I'm going to go towards Sparks Fly. I think the reclassification could help out this horse. But I'll tell you who is the most intriguing horse of this entire field is this Explosion. This one was off from July the 8th of last year to this year. And I'll tell you, that qualifier looked not all that bad. And now all of a sudden it gets on to Lasix. Now, the horse went onto the vets list on that race back on July the 8th.
Long-term vets list.
Right.
Yeah.
So whatever it was something pretty substantial in here. I'm thinking he needs one. But if you're ever going to get him, tonight's the night at a price, because I think he could beat this bunch.
Yeah, see, so we're both looking for horses at prices.
Yeah.
Right? Explosion and Kama. And, you know, I think the other thing, too, is some of the horses that have legit shots, like the 9 and like the 10, are, again, you know, hindered with the outside draw.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens here. It's a good race, though. Tough one to sort out. Race number 11 on the program here tonight.
Can I ask you a question?
Chad, yes.
Before we bring in Chad,
Yeah.
as a handicap, do you like the night end up with a trot? Because they tend to be more or less predictable, I would say.
I guess so. You
know,
know,
if you're
they're fun
trying
to
to get out,
watch,
yeah.
but I mean, they can also be pretty frustrating.
They can.
They can be pretty frustrating too. All right, let's bring Chad into the mix. I don't think things are getting any better
if
outside.
Jeff's done with his questions,
What's
we can
that?
bring me, if
Yeah.
Jeff's done with his
Larry
questions,
King
we
is
can bring
done.
me in,
I'm
right?
done. I'm done. Yeah.
Oh, you done? Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Poor Jeff, he had to tell his shopping cart story tonight. All sorts of things we
Oh,
had to
geez.
discuss. You've got some qualifiers though to talk about, and were you able to see them at all?
Yeah, because they were last week that I got them. Now, going forward next week, I'm not too confident we're going to get anything for next week based on what the morning qualifiers look like here today. Now, it was actually when I was going through them, this was yesterday I was doing that, and there was a handful of them, so kind of got me a little excited. Problem is, when I do profile them, I like to pick out horses that not only qualified, but then are going to be entered in to go the subsequent weekend, which some of them weren't. Some are back in qualifying. Some were actually now out on Monday, and the entries weren't out yet. But I think I've got a couple here that we should certainly pay attention to. They're both horses that are going to be getting play on this weekend. We've got one that's starting tonight, Bad Girl Bridget, for Beau Ford, joining that high percentage barn. She's in the 8th race, and this one very popular out on the East Coast because she has just been an absolute sensation over ages 2 and 3, winning 20 of 25 career starts, including the last couple of her 3-year-old campaign against aged mares out there. Now, this qualifier, I ended up, timing it myself a bunch of times as well, because the last quarter, was in 26 flat for her. And we just don't a lot of times see that this time of year. But it's legit. And, I mean, she was flying on the end of it. It's a good horse for Kwinowski at the inside that ends up in Premier First Star that ends up getting the victory. But she's pacing hard on the end of it. I think Louis liked her. He she was a bit keen early, but he got her to settle down in the hole. And, she really wasn't called on to move until the stretch. Now, will she be ready to go off the bench? I'm not sure, but I think she's fortunate to have landed where she has in an inside draw in a class that they've opened up for her in this spot, because it's also eligible horses that started for a purse of 11,000 or less getting in there. So I think it's a good spot for her. I think a spot she can actually win in. Louis is actually going to be my focus on another one as well, and that's Willie's Home Run. We all know this mare, who recently became a millionaire last season midway through. But she's getting set to kick off a new season for her, and what she's prepping for is the New Hall, and she's eligible to that. I'm not sure how many mares are scheduled to compete against the boys, but that starts a week from Monday. This was her second qualifier. Now, you guys might want to keep an eye on the one that's on the lead, because that's Esplosione, who we're going to see in the finale, and I thought this one qualified well, but Willie's Home Run was powering home strong. I thought she looked good at both of them. Louis going to stick with her from an inside draw in her first start since the end of October. And again, another one that I think generally throughout most of her career, she's been quite competitive off the qualifier, and I think that will continue again on Monday. Because I know if I'm them, I want to see a real strong finish from her if the plan is to go forward into the New Hall and a week from Monday. So looking forward to both of those, one tonight and one on Sunday.
Thanks, Chad.
And I have a question for you, Chad. No, I don't. I'm just kidding.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay.
I like Chad's tips on these qualifier reports. Yeah.
No, I was just looking at Willie's Home Run in there. I think you're going to get a price, Chad, on that one too.
Really?
Because
you think so?
No,
yeah.
I think she'll get played, especially Louis opting away from the horse that was the favorite last
week. But she's
week.
moving up in class. True, but she's moving up in class off her last.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as moving up in class for her. She's a class
yeah,
leader, right?
That's valid.
I think I put her up on top. I mean, she's a monster. Yeah.
Okay, we're told to wrap it up, but
right.
Cover Band's going to win that race.
No.
All right, we're betting coffee. There we
coffee,
go.
you got it.
All right,
you got
there
it.
we go. Have a good night, guys.
All righty. Okay, one more thing to talk about, and that's what's coming up on Sunday? Yes. Sunday is, I should know this. Sunday is International Women's Day, and we're going to have our women's race. I think it's the third on the program, and this year they're driving pacers. I've seen them drive trotters the last couple of years, but this year it's pacers.
And not a race from a handicapping point of view that is very clear. It is not that the best horse in the race is an absolute stone cold closer who's dropping down a class, and there are big question marks about the status of that one coming into. So yeah, the all-women's race, we're going to look forward to that. We're going to catch up with some of the connections. We're going to do some chatting with some of the trainers that, have done very well on this circuit.
Our lady trainers.
That's right. And we're going to catch up with them as well. So we'll have all kinds of little interviews for you throughout the night. And then we'll have that all-women's race on Sunday, March the 8th. And the defending champion is in that event, too. There's a few women that have won that race in the past.
Julie Walker, Anita Olette. Yep.
Last year, I think it was Maggie Jones that won last year, was it not?
Oh, yes, I think you're right.
Yeah, so, and she's got a call. Maggie does have a call in that race with Uriel Blue Chip, who is 15-1. Why is the producer telling me to rap 1,000 times here tonight?
I guess.
Are we talking a lot?
I guess we're talking too much.
All right, I guess we're done.
So I have heard the call for 5 minutes. It was about 3 minutes ago. So it looks like we are almost set to meet the horses for race number 1 on tonight's 11 race program. Good luck.